Hello, hello, and welcome. I have Cha-Cha here, my lovely assistant, and I'm gonna give her a little pet while I'm got my hamstrings on. All right, so this is a hamstring practice. You guys know that. We're gonna stand and, this instruction where you've been given to kind of touch the floor. This is not what we're gonna be working with today. So we're releasing the hamstrings instead of stretching them. So I want you to bend your knees in this forward fold. I want you to bend them a ton and rest your rib cage on your thighs and shift your weight into the heels and bend your knees even more. I know, this is different. Breathe in and out of the nose. And then you're going to bend your knees even more. And then when you lift up into that forward fold, still with your knees bent, but we're going to pull the thighs up into the hip sockets. Bend, thighs up into the hip sockets. Bend a lot. Thighs up into the hip sockets, keeping the weight in the heels. Bend, thigh bones up into the hip sockets. All right. Up into the hip sockets, bend, thigh bones up, hold, let your head hang, shift your weight into your heels. Take a deep breath. On your exhale, push straight up to standing without rolling. We need one block for this next exercise. Take a block onto the floor. Wait first. We're going to move the hips a little bit, dance around a little bit with your hips. All right, this is the action that we're going to use in this next exercise. So place your block on the floor, and we're going to put the right foot on it. And the feet are aligned, one right next to the other, but one of them's just up on a block. I want you to push that right foot into the floor and then shake your hips around like we were doing in that little dance move. Push through the foot. Move the hips. I want you to keep your knees bent so you don't have a lot of stretch in your hamstrings. And then step your left foot back to a pyramid pose and push your right foot into the block and move around in your hips. And then we'll stand up. Beautiful. All right, let's go to that second side. Left foot on the block. Forward fold. Push down into the block with that left foot and move your hips around. Move those hips around. Step that right foot back into a little pyramid. And again, move your hips around. You can bend both of those knees as much as you wish. We're not looking for straight legs here. We're just looking for release. Stand up with a straight spine and come out. We're going to do a little forward fold again. So bend your knees a ton, rest your ribs on your thighs, and breathe. Push up to standing. So we're kind of using this forward fold as a little tester, just kind of see what those hamstrings are up to. All right, a little balancing is necessary for this next exercise. So we're going to practice a little balance and then extend the leg out. Switch sides. Extend the leg out. Good. And whichever side you might have had a little more twitch in your balance, we're going to go back to that side and practice that balance on that one side. And then release. So we're going to go into a forward fold again, but we're going to go into what I call flamingo. One leg is up, one foot is on the floor. If you want to get into this a little easier, put both feet on the floor, forward fold, and then pull the foot up. Flamingo position. Bend your knee a ton. Let your head relax. Neck relaxes. Shift your weight into your heel. Now we're going to move a couple of inches, twisting slightly to the right, just a few inches. And breathe. Let it go. And then a few more inches, twisting to the right. When you exhale, let it go. Come back around through the center and just push your right knee out to the right and then rotate like 2 inches maybe toward the inside of your foot. But you got to push that knee out to the right. Come back to the center and place your foot on the floor. Forward fold. And notice what it feels like right to left. Exhale, push straight up to standing. All right. We have another leg. Flamingo, standing on your left. Let that head hang completely. Shift your weight into your heel, that standing heel. Yes. You guys are doing fantastic. Rotating a little bit to your left. Make sure you don't clock your animals in the face. If you have pets doing this practice with you, let's rotate a little bit more to the left. And breathe. Keep the weight in the heel. Now, I want you to feel that left knee pushing out to the left as you rotate slightly in toward the inside of that standing foot. Breathe, exhale, relax. Let it go. Now rotate back to your center. Place both feet on the floor for your forward fold. Notice how that feels now. Maybe starting to open up. We're going to bend the knees a ton and then lift the thighs up into the hip sockets. So if you are a squatter, if your squat feels really nice, you can actually squat all the way down. But don't worry about it if your hips don't sink all the way to the heels. Really, this is more about releasing than it is getting somewhere super bendy. Weight in the heels. Push up to standing. And always exhale when you stand. All right. We're going to sit down on the floor. So however you choose to get there, just kind of notice how you chose to get down on the floor. We're going to lie down and pull that left knee in towards your chest. Now I've got my hands wrapped around the back of the thigh so that you turn your hamstrings off a little bit. And you can see how much you are able to straighten without a stretch in your hamstrings. And bend and straighten a few times. Now the reason why we're not stretching our hamstrings is you've probably done this before and it has been like I am now, right? But it's probably been that you've awakened the next morning and they're tighter than ever before. So we're not doing that. We're releasing them. So you can have your arm around the thigh, the calf. You can have your knee as bent as you need. But if you're super flexible, you might grab your big toe with the first 2 fingers of your hand. Now, if you're not there today, don't worry about it. Just keep practicing this. And over time, the connective tissue will change. Second side. Wrap that arm around the back of the thigh. bend and straighten. Even if your hamstrings are pretty lengthened, you might still want to have that arm wrapped around the back of the thigh. Just the muscles and the connective tissue respond differently in this position. And hold. Grab either behind the thigh, behind the calf, or for those who've been practicing this a while, grab that big toe. And because hamstring muscle responds a little differently, we always want to make sure we use strength. Slowly bring that leg down to the floor. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to flip over into a plank position. And because sometimes, there's this one muscle that passes the knee, and it actually having tight calves can contribute to having tight hamstrings in the lower leg or the lower thigh. So we're going to push back into the heel in this plank, and it's less about being in the plankiest plank, but it's more about pushing back into that heel. Now I'm shifting my hips right and left a little bit, so there's a little unwinding. Switch sides. We're going to do this a couple of times on each side. And that first side again. And that second side again. Excellent. Set your knees on the floor. We're going to roll back down to our lying down position. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so we're going to come back into that, what is this? Like a supine split, I suppose. And you can grab where you were grabbing before. Just notice if anything's different here. Second side. Don't forget to breathe. And gently release. Roll to your side, and then gently push up to seated. Beautiful, you guys. All right. Grab yourself a block. Actually, grab yourself 2 blocks. We're going to do a variation on half Hanuman. And this is actually kind of a variation on a yoga pose. So we're going to go into this little half split or Hanumanasana. And we're going to pull this upper thigh, kind of pull it into your hip socket. Now, once it's there, I want your hips and everything below the hips steady. And see, I'm going down and up, down and up. Now, you can have a bend in your knee if that's really tugging on your hamstrings, all right? Pick up your leg, shift it back. Let's try the second side. Flexing your foot, pull the thigh bone into the hip socket and go down and up, down and up. Don't forget to breathe deeply, slowly, smoothly. And release. Switching to that first side again. So externally rotate this time so that pinky toe side of the foot is flat on the edge. And we're going to go down and up, down and up. So, and you may or may not already know this, but you have 3 muscles in each leg that are the hamstrings. So we like to get them in 3 dimensions if we can. Flex the foot and then lift the leg, bring it back to switch sides. We're doing an externally rotated half Hanumanasana variation. Externally rotated on the outside edge, the little blade of that right foot. Down and up. Down and up. Nice, smooth breath. And come back to the center and gently release. Beautiful. I'm just going to set those blocks to the side and come into your forward fold. I like to just hopped into the forward fold. If that's not for you today, don't worry about it. Just take your time to get there and shift your weight into the heels and just notice how that may feel different from your first forward fold of the practice. So you've really been doing a great job of developing the openness in your hamstrings. Let's have a seat on the floor. We're going to do a yoga pose called Janu Shirshasana. When you sit, we're folding one leg in, but I'm going to show you a variation. One block under the knee, one block under the other knee. So if your hamstrings are tight, this may be where you want to be, possibly. Because I've been doing this for a really long time, I'm going to go ahead and pull the blocks out from underneath. I'm going to keep my chest lifted through the whole exercise, and I'm going to start to come forward towards you. I've got my left thigh bone. I've pulled it into that hip socket again, and I've got my chest reaching forward. So I'm pushing down through the sits bones. I'm reaching my spine long, reaching forward. It's not about getting to the floor. It's about reaching forward. So let me show this from the side. Sitting bones down, lifting up, coming over the thigh, pulling that left thigh bone in. I'm reaching forward, not down. Yeah. Because the forward eventually pulls you down, that's kind of looks like what the goal is, but the goal is actually forward. Sitting bones press, lengthen the spine. You can use your breath and kind of wave through it. Sitting bone down, inhale, spine lengthens, and then relax forward. All right, let's switch and try this on the second side. Pull that thigh bone into the hip socket, get nice and situated. The thigh comes in. Don't forget, that's a really important part, especially when you're dealing with hamstrings. And this can translate, like if you practice yoga, for example, this can translate into a lot of your yoga poses where you pull the thigh in. Come forward. Sitting bones down, lengthen through the spine, relax. So sits bones down, lengthen through the spine, exhale, relax. Sitting bones down, lengthen through the spine, exhale, relax. You've got it. And this knee, I'm showing here, you can have your knee bent also. And slowly release. Great work, y'all. Okay. So I'm going to take these, I'm just going to move them out of the way. There's a painting behind me, so I have a choice. I'm going to go to a wall where there's like some flat space. So find yourself a spot. We're going to do legs up the wall. And how this goes is that you just sidle up right to the wall. Put your side on the wall. And then you'll lie back and rotate around so that you're now facing the wall. Your bum is like either touching the baseboard or just like maybe an inch away. And your legs are relaxed. Now, because this is such an amazing hamstring opener, I want you guys to be here. I want you to be here anyway because rest is just delicious. But also, your hamstrings are letting go here. This is a very good restorative position where your hamstrings get some love. So really love your body and rest here for at least 3 minutes. And I'm going to rest with you for that length of time. So get your shoulders out of your ears, rotate your palms up to the ceiling, and take some smooth breath. And when a thought enters, just recognize it as a thought. And without engaging with it, just, there's a thought. And return to focusing on your breath. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the nose. Letting your bones rest into the floor. Just knowing there's nothing to do right now, but just be. And breathe in and breathe out. And when another thought enters your mind, just think, thinking. Just enjoying the spaciousness here. Be present with your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Knowing that you're breathing in and knowing that you're breathing out. Stay here. Stay here with your breath. And I invite you to be here even longer. I'm going to sign off now and tell you it was a pleasure to practice with you today. And see you soon.